got to hold while I do this. And this is actually not an easy thing to do. So if I'm working on, let's say I'm working on stability in this shoulder, and I'm finally getting some good scapular holding in this position, I can challenge her by having her lift this arm, and then when she's able to do that, she can lift it with resistance. So you can progress it that way. Can you see how to do that? It's really hot here.
Yes. Has anyone ever had an injury from having like a weak serratus or anything like that position?
Hopefully the therapist is smart enough to take them out of that position and recognize it. I haven't had anybody. Dr. Kitterman, have you?
What's her question?
Her question was, has anyone ever been injured by having to hold this position while they're in therapy?
If we're with weak serratus.
If they had a weak
Where
serratus?
again, you're gonna see the scapula.
Right.
Usually what happens is, they don't necessarily get injured, but they start complaining of shoulder pain. Because they're impinging. Because the scapula is just lifting, there's no control there, so they're just leaning on tendons. So that's usually.
Again, they won't have a lot of stability
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit.
Trying to figure out, okay, this is too hard.
Kind of like what she was doing right here.
Fan.
There she is. Kind of what she was doing. Kind of moving her arms, not
That's why I'm
comfortable.
always stretching like all day. It's always really like balled up under my scapula. I
You ought to have that looked at.
I-
I'm gonna borrow your things, I lost mine already. Okay. Then we can work on sitting. We already talked about, I'm sorry. I'm having such brain problems today. We already talked about the weight shifting forward and the two phases of sit to stand. So in terms of sitting, again, you start with the same way. You start with the feet supported. Anybody under there?
You can have your knees under there.
I know that. There's one less pretzel rod. So supported sitting would be her hands supported. Now her hands could be supporting here, her hands could be next to her, or her hands could be behind her in this position. How do we work on stability in this position? Is eventually we get rid of one, and then we have her sit without any hand support, an unsupported sitting. In each position we need to maintain posture. We need to make sure the person is sitting in a good posture. And what is good posture in sitting? What's the alignment that I'm looking for? What's the plumb line? Right, so you want, well, neutral spine. I want external auditory meatus over the tip of the acromion lining up with her hip. Right? So that's the alignment. If she's got her head forward and her back is rounded, well, that's not good. I want to work on sitting here. I want to make sure that I get her as close to proper alignment. If you're not sure, one way to kind of quickly tell is if I compress through her shoulders. If I compress, she's as solid as a rock there. Just move a little bit forward. If I compress here, I can break her. Okay, if she's out of alignment, I can literally push down on her and she'll give someplace. But if she's aligned and I press down on her, she should feel the weight going right through the vertebral bodies, right through her ischial tuberosities into the surface. So I actually use that to teach patients. I am sitting up straight. No, you're not. And then I'll say, see how I push, and then I'm going to put you in a position, and then I'm going to push again and feel the difference. So it's a way to teach them also how to get in that position. If they're not sure where the pelvis is supposed to be, I'll have them rock back, rock all the way forward, and then come back to the middle. And that usually is neutral. So back, forward, and then come back a little, right in the middle, and you're back in the middle. And you should feel your ischial tuberosities bearing weight for your bottom. That's what I say in there. Once she's sitting statically and she's able to hold this position for prolonged periods of time, then I can start reaching, right? So I can start reaching with her hands clasped together if she has hemiparesis, or if there's and I'm trying to equalize or create symmetry in her trunk. Or I can have her reach diagonally with one hand at a time. So I can have her reach with her left arm out this way. So now I'm getting some nice rotation. Okay, or I can have her reach with her hands together and I'm getting forward even more rotation. So the reason why I'm spending time on this is on a practical, I've actually asked people, show me how you work on static sitting, and then show me how you work on dynamic sitting, and they freeze. And they're like, static? And they just can't think. You can always do isometrics. You can always work on sitting for longer periods of time and give them something, a task to do, or something to read, or something else that's testing their endurance of staying here. So don't be confused. I'm going to ask you, show me controlled mobility in this posture. And you're going to have to give me activities to work on that. I'm going to use that terminology. Okay? So you need to understand it and how to apply it properly. Okay? So, I want you guys to practice bridging, quadruped and sitting, getting transitional mobility. I want you to practice stability, controlled mobility in each of those positions, and progress it. Show me low level and then progress it a couple of times, because that's what I'm going to ask you. Show me an activity, now progress it. Progression means a higher level activity.
Yeah,
So don't go down.
start too high on the practice.
Yeah.
That's a problem a lot of people have. They start with standing on one leg and then it's like, okay, progress. You're like, ooh. So start low. And realize that a lot of your patients are going to be starting at lower level.
Yeah. So if they start with, standing on one leg with their eyes closed on a
Yeah.
foam mat,
It's like-
and then I'm like, well, how do you progress it? And they start perturbing them with their eyes closed. They're like, okay, so remember, you're gonna be asked for progression. You're gonna be asked for specific skill set in that 4 broad categories of motor skills. Okay, so you need to understand it in those terms. I said it. Go off and play.